What's up, dudes? I don't recall if I promised I was going to do this, but here is the comparison between the Deluxe Chogokin VF-25S. We have the Renewal version on the left here, and the original version on the right. And oh my god, what is that? Before we get into the nitty-gritty, I just want to show off, I got this really cool book in the mail. The Variable Fighter Master File VF-25 Messiah. And, you know, I don't know if you guys have been following these really cool books, but basically they're kind of like modern doujins where fans do all kinds of cool stuff and really amazing pictures of the Valkyries, you know, using understandably kind of budget CG, but it still looks really nice. The composition is nice. I mean, this is just some really amazing shots of the VF-25. And I think the poor old VF-1 has been usurped as the most beautiful Valkyrie. This may even rival my love for the VF-19. Although this book does have kind of a nice little surprise waiting underneath the dust cover. You guys ready for it? Okay. Open Ranka! It's like, oh my. I love this bright orange, carrot-colored Ranka with the Tasha VF-25 down there. Oh, that Macross. Successfully combining cute girls and jets with arms for over 30 years. Alright, so getting back to the actual jets with arms. Okay, so let's take a look at the fighter modes, comparing them. And if I gotta say, alright, weight in the hands, this one has a lot more weight in the back, definitely, and this one feels much more balanced. You can kind of just see by looking at the top, everything on the Renewal version is much tighter. All the panels line up, the detail is much finer, the legs sit properly. I should say the back of the calves extend properly up above to give it that very post-Macross 7 look to it, where you have a very smooth back, and then at the dorsal area, and then the two nacelles sticking up at the back there. Whereas this, they're a bit more sunken. This was also a problem with the model kits, and also you have the very obvious holes for mounting the booster packs, because they actually had to retool this toy from the original release so that it could in fact use all of the super packs and the armor packs. And also probably the biggest problem, and we all remember, and actually you look at the front profile, I mean, this one is just so much, the Renewal version is just so much nicer looking. This thing is really chunky and not very elegant. And, alright, so let's get to one of the biggest complaints that people had was with the landing gear, whereas this toy has this very nice, long landing gear, properly sized. It also rolls very, very easily. You can just kind of make it go cune back and forth. This one, it's a bit of a mess under here, and that piece was, in fact, I think I showed this off before, it's one of the landing gear doors, because it's made out of this really strange kind of crumbly gray plastic. I don't know why they decided to go with that, but I think this only affects the early Ozma types, not really so much the later ones. Oh yeah, and I forgot to grab the hands, but who cares. So yeah, this thing has like these really weird, a lot of people said shopping cart wheels. Yeah, it's not really that good looking. This, like things like this are really floppy. They doesn't quite stay in quite as well. And if you try to angle the dorsal fins here, or the ventral fins, I should say, they push the thing out because there really isn't enough room for them to be at the proper angle, like on this guy. So yeah, and if we just kind of just get the two here and just compare the undersides, you can see one is just much tighter. Everything just fits together way better. Yeah. All right, so to get to the transformation, and this is something I kind of took a little issue with when Josh talked about in a review, where he said that he felt like these toys were, you know, more of a throwback. They were kind of an attempt at making a very solid toy. Like, the inaccuracies to the original design were just there to make it a better toy, which is really not the case. I'm going to transform this one first, just to kind of give you a feel of like how difficult this thing is to handle. Not that it isn't. Yeah, these don't actually, because one of the differences here is that it's now that it was a peg that goes in here. So this whole thing doesn't quite do what it needs to do as smoothly. The landing gear doors actually do feel really cheap and kind of nasty. Like it doesn't, and again, this thing just pops out constantly. Another difference is these very easily detach off of their ball joints. Everything feels a little looser for some reason, and I think, and I really didn't play with this figure that much. Yeah, and they also have this issue here with the front landing gear also being very small. Now, I have been able to just cram this thing in here to keep it in place. Yeah, this thing is just... Alright, so that's not going to stay in place. Oh, and I didn't actually fix this thing, so if it does break on camera even more, you can kind of see there's the break right there. So if this thing does break more, I don't really care. Because, you know, I kind of thought for like half a tick, it's like, well, what if we tried to use shapeways to fix the toy? It's like, I'd be fixing like a good quarter of the toy. It's like you can't really replace that much of the figure with aftermarket parts. Yeah, you can see this whole assembly here is rather tenuously connected. And this whole dumb thing that never ever came out right and is far too short. And the bizarre, I never understood this. Why does this fold up? Because when you put it on, when you attempt to make it so that it goes into the little trap door here, and they did this on the VF-25 too, but that toy was still a better toy than this, is that when you put it on, obviously gravity is going to make it want to pull the little tab down, which is to put it into its retracted position, which I don't understand why you would do that, because you could easily just make it fold up. And yeah, I forgot how kind of terrible this thing's neck was. I don't even know if I'm getting it all the way up. Yeah, that's not too good looking. So this guy I'll stand him. Alright, well, actually, I gotta remember to do the ventral fins here, which also feel like they're about to break. They're very thick and creaky. I don't like how those feel, and this guy's kind of flopping all over the place there. Okay, so let's do the new toy, and just to give you a sense of how much better things are now. For one thing, you know, these just go in super easily. The whole thing just feels very smooth. It feels really, really nice in the hands, as I said in the previous review, but yeah, you can just see this whole thing is just very solid. And unlike I didn't really show it on the previous toy, but you know, this has the nice clips that hold the intakes into the chest area. And then let's take that out. The only thing that I do think is a little strange about the new toy is just getting the head out without accidentally popping this plate area here off. You just kind of get your finger under there and you push it back as far as it'll go. And I don't think on my previous review I actually got, yeah, this thing still comes off every time I try to transform it. But I don't think I actually got the neck all the way up. It actually does come up so that it's almost flush with the little collar area there. Yeah, so that's really the only thing that's particularly fiddly about the new one, is just that the whole neck area. But that's really only on the Ozma type, because it has the whole extending neck thingy to prevent the problems of the last toy. And again, you do have this much sturdier two-prong connector system right here in the waist joint. And this feels much better. It's not, first off, a part of the ankle guard isn't a part of this, which is much better, and this just comes in and goes back in and stays in there very, very nicely. And same thing on this side, feels really good. You know, this whole ankle area extends, feels smoother as it extends, and it feels much more solid when you get the whole thing together. And just kind of, let's bring. Buddy of mine said he's gonna see if he can get me a new tripod. So, say goodbye to the old Dynex one. Alright. So I hope you got a good sense of why the new toy is just so much more appealing as a toy. I mean, it's really, it's something I feel like I can handle. Like playing with this one far more than I ever did this one, and here's the first obvious big problem is very nice, is that we've got a figure with a nice full neck, nice clear parts for the eyepiece and for the head sensor, nice straight, well-defined head lasers. And another thing I want to point out is that the shoulder system is so much better on this one. It's just this simple die-cast hinge here with another hinge right here, kind of forming a little universal joint, and then you just have the ball joint here on the end that the whole shoulder goes into. And now let's look at, oh dear. Yeah, so this was the armored type that I reviewed that did have that spacer piece that took me a while to install when I was doing the review. And this is it without the whole spacer piece with that very sunken head. I guess in some ways the head does look a little bit nicer with just the like trying to get both of these in shot. It's a bit of a problem. I was like, oh, it's like, it's, you know, this is like, you know, I got Arnold Schwarzenegger here, and then you have Danny DeVito in Twins. It's like, well, I mean, the painted detailing for the eyes and the head sensor isn't too bad. I mean, the shiny paint they use for the eyes looks pretty good, but really the whole look of this head is just so much nicer. It has more parts to it. It just feels like it's like this is what it should look like. Like this is the proper VF-25S head. This is just kind of weirdly cartoony and isn't helped by the lack of a neck. And just getting back to the shoulders, this is let's not hold it there because it might break. Yeah, let's hold it from back here. So it has this weird like ball joint and then a swivel there, and then the main swivel just like the other toy, but it's like this part just gets loose and it doesn't hold anything after a while, and it's very strange that they decided that it was going to go here as part of the chest plate, so it's kind of unnatural. And if I can position these in a way so I can show you, it's like here this is attached to this part of the collar area, and so it's like if you want to move it, it feels natural. It isn't going to do what happens with this guy where it's like, oh, it kind of comes up here and it doesn't look quite so nice. Yeah, also, another problem, which is always just the position of the hips. And to be fair, there is a lot of Valkyrie hip design. It's a very nebulous area on the original like line art or whatever you have, or the original CGI design for this guy in particular. But I don't understand why they felt that it had to go like right here, because then you have this issue where the ankles, they sort of tried to lift them up a little bit too much, and then it looks off, like he pulled his pants up too far, starting around like Urkel or something like that. That was the common cat calling. Oh, this guy's gonna fall over. Yeah, he doesn't really feel too nice. And again, it's not really an issue. Like the whole controversy over this first toy and then they're just doing it again. I think it's just a weird question of why did they even go with this in the first place. If I can bring out just sort of some VF1 toys, because that's always been the big comparison, is how they keep making more VF1 toys, and you know that's a design from 30 years ago, but this guy was from 2007, so why would they feel the need to remake it so quickly? And I feel like a lot of the buzz at the time was that this thing here, like with its inaccuracies, with the chunkier look, that it was supposed to be like one of these. This is a Bandai, this is like a 2002-ish, their reissue of their version of the Takatoku 1/55th scale VF1 Valkyrie. And you know, the thing is though that this is still, despite its very loose head and other strange things, like this is a very sturdy toy. Like I would say that the Renewal version here is more in line with this. You know, and this guy is just, I don't even know. This feels like it's not even up to Bandai caliber. Although, to be fair, Bandai is a huge company and they've made some rather interesting gaffes over the years. I mean, ask anybody about the twist action figures for Kamen Rider. Or, let's see, there's some other or the VF100s line. Ask Josh about that, and, you know, he will be still chewing bits of landing gear door. The reason I'm not showing you my Jetfire because he is very yellow. So, I think another comparison that really came up is you have the Perfect Transformation Yamato toy, and then this guy was just the 3-form transformation. They didn't actually call this one Perfect Transformation. Some people call this one V2, and this is the version 1, you know. But I would have to say that I think this has more of a reason to exist than this, you know, in my opinion. Because this feels like it was a gamble. It feels like it was just an attempt to kind of get away from this, just to see if this could be improved upon. Because for the longest time there really was just this. I mean, the only other thing we had was the Takatoku 1/100th scale toy, which is just this except smaller, and the High Complete model, which because of its rarity never really entered the same pop culture of the same. It really never achieved the same status in the toy culture as this toy. So what I think the whole issue is that it just seemed really weird that they rushed and very much half-assed this first toy. But it just kind of makes me wonder if they're going to go back and redo the VF-27, because this guy on the left here is just so much better. Like, this is the quality we want to see from Bandai, and this is the quality we have seen from Bandai. It's just this is yeah, this guy doesn't even want to stand up anymore. He's just kind of shamed. He's going to fall over. And those lasers, I did have to do the whole blow dryer method to try to make them straighter, and I think, I forget if one of them got slightly melted. Oh no, actually no, I did the blow dryer thing on the previous one I had, because I had the non-armored type that I traded to fellow reviewer Anavel, and then he later sold it so he could get one of these. So yeah, this is just the comparison, and at least we can, while we're here, we just kind of look at the back. Yeah, not hugely different. Yeah, you know, the decal is more or less the same. You can kind of see though that this one is just very slimmer. It's much closer to official artwork, and I feel, let's see, we can try to get out some official artwork, because I do have my friendly Ronka helping me out here. Let's see here. Again, these are really nice books if you're just into the tech stuff. Yeah, they have a whole section here on, here we go. On variations. So here's your basic, what it's supposed to look like. You can kind of see this is really a lot based on the model kits. So let's see if I can't see something. Let's get Mr. Renewal here, and maybe we can get in the nice artwork. And I think it's alright because, you know, this is CG stuff, so there's less variation than with most VF1. So yeah, you can definitely see that. I don't know if you can see if it's zooming properly. That the Renewal version just has the much more proper proportions. I mean, if you just compare hip positioning, it's like night and day. You know, this is like, this guy is all floppy, about to fall over, and this guy is nice, poised, and good looking. Yeah. So here's been another slightly rambly, goofy review. And also a promotion for cool books. So yeah, I've been doing this because fellow reviewer D-Kun, he likes it when I talk about Valkyries. So, and if you're going to Anime Boston this week, you will probably hear me talk about Valkyries at a panel along with illustrator David White by his Mechazone book. So yeah, that's going to be the Mecha Evolution, or Evolution of Mecha, or something like that panel. It's on Saturday. It's about an hour. I think it's around 11 o'clock. I don't know. I only looked at the schedule once. Alright, so this has been Andrew for CollectionDX, showing you planned obsolescence in toys.